Peace, beautiful souls. My name is Troi of Mama Tree Doula. I am your favorite full spectrum wellness doula. I am excited to speak with a hypnotherapist today. So many of our experts have spoken about the benefits of hypnotherapy, and I'd like to welcome to Nurture Your Pregnancy Journey, J. Robert Parker.
Hey
J.
there.
Robert Parker, Robert, let the people know how you would like to be addressed, what it is that you do. Tell us more about yourself.
Absolutely. You can just call me Robert. A little bit more about myself. I am the director of a company called Twin Ravens Solutions, formerly Twin Ravens Hypnotherapy. We just kind of do a little more than hypnotherapy now. And I am, as the name suggests, a hypnotherapist. And what that is both very, very simple and very hard to explain. The simplest explanation is I am the guy you talk to help you communicate with your subconscious, because our reality, our perceptions kind of separate into layers. You have your conscious mind, you have your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is difficult at times. And it's because the question has to be asked, why we cannot simply just do a thing. Like, let's say, stop smoking. That's a common one. You want to quit, but you can't. So
Mhm.
why is that? What force is that prevents you from quitting? Not your subconscious mind. And what I'm such a fan of saying, in fact, that I wrote a book by this title, is that it's all in your head. Be it, and I don't say that in a derogatory fashion or a degrading fashion. I mean that in that is where you will stay. You live in your head. Past, present, future, everything is all up here. And because of that, because everything is all in your head, in your perception, and all of that, it's also where the solutions are. And what that solution looks like as a hypnotherapist is varied, because I work with a very large amount of issues. I will work on smoking cessation, weight loss, helping someone overcome complex trauma, helping someone become more successful in their career. I've helped people improve their golf game. So it's just kind of an open scope. And the reason that my scope is so broad is kind of goes back to that it's all in your head. Everything is based on a belief or an expectation. Even pain is nothing but a signal from the brain, and part of the subconscious's purpose is to control those signals. Beyond just associations, it controls emotion, automatic function, things like that. And uh because of that, we are able to, through hypnosis and through the use of hypnotherapy, take control of parts of ourselves and our experience that we normally perceive as involuntary or outside of our control. And a good example of that is, as you had mentioned, we were talking before, people bring up hypnobirthing. And that is in the same category as hypnoanesthesia, which is it was primarily used for those people that cannot receive any type of pain-killing drug. They have an allergy or a sensitivity. And the solution for that is hypnoanesthesia. And it is just using hypnosis to create an anesthetic response. Yes, it is absolutely possible. It is one of the craziest things I think that is in my wheelhouse.
Right.
So it's a like I said, it's a wide field that I work in, and especially with pregnancy, with birthing, there is a lot of getting in your head. And that is kind of why I'm here. I help people remove themselves from their head, engage in that experience. And like I tell people in consultation, my job is kind of a translator. I am here to speak to your subconscious mind and to teach you how it speaks to you. And one of the things I like to emphasize is this: none of what I do with hypnotherapy is theoretical or metaphysical or in question by the medical community as a whole. People always come at me and they're like, "Oh, hypnotherapy, that's kind of fringe, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Well, depends on who you ask. If you ask an average person, yeah, they might say that. If you ask somebody that works in an advanced field, they will tell you no." And one of the things in every interview that I like to encourage people to do, because I don't love the word hypnosis, because it's got a lot of bad association with it. But I encourage everyone to look into not just my words and my reassurances, but the actual research and data that is out there. I I even encourage people to reach out to me if they don't feel like looking for that data, because I have a package that I put together to make it easy for everyone. Uh, but absolutely, any questions you have for me, please ask. Otherwise, I will sit here and run my mouth for forever.
We're here to listen to you talk. So I'm interested in the benefits
Mhm.
for prenatal bodies, how it empowers births, what it feels like, looks like, what do they expect? So if they were walking into your office, what would an initial consultation look like? Or how would it look for one
Well,
to experience hypnoanesthesia?
endo anesthesia, well, that's a different thing in itself, because that's not a normal session. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that is discussed, and that's something actually that's not just, oh, hey, I need you to do this, so do this. Uh to properly anesthetize somebody requires that they first build suggestibility to me, which means for any type of anesthetic thing, it's not just a, oh, I come in and do the thing as a stranger. We have worked together. There is an association in your subconscious with me and my voice, and it allows you to go to the depths of hypnosis necessary to be able to achieve that result.
Mm-hmm.
So, but to answer your question otherwise, I don't have an office. This is my office. So that, first of all, looks however wherever you are. And the first step would be to contact me for a consultation. That's done through my website or through just directly contacting me, and I'll provide all that information at the end. And you set up through my scheduling service a 15-minute consultation, though I am guilty of running over that 15 minutes many times. Shocking, I know. And in that 15 or so minutes, we discuss who you are, what your history is, what you're looking for. And for example, if somebody was interested in hypnobirthing, uh, I always recommend, what's something else you want to work on in the meantime, because we're going to be working towards that. So we might as well do something else in that process rather than just sit there and trance you. I don't know, you want to be more productive, you want to be more motivated, you want to. So it's kind of one of those bonus things. And what a session actually looks like is much like this. And I said, this is my office, so you are wherever is most comfortable for you. And standard hypnotherapy kind of looks like it sounds. It's hypnotherapy. It looks like both of those things. So, like for the first half, I'm just talking, asking you questions, asking you how you feel about things, the standard talk. But the difference between like a traditional therapist asking those questions and a hypnotherapist asking those questions, at least me, is I am gathering your language, your metaphors, the way you express yourself, because that is the language of your subconscious, or that is part of it. Because I don't use scripts of any kind. I am not that hypnotherapist. You will find some that'll just read pre-written scripts to you. I have nothing written down. I cannot speak to someone's subconscious unless I am speaking directly to them in real time and not looking down at a piece of paper. And the second half is the hypnotic portion. And all we do is whatever our goal is, we focus on that. And generally, it is just a very calming, relaxing thing that we begin to build those associations and build that skill. Because going into trance is a skill, not for me, but for the person going into it. It's something you learn how to do. Even though trance is a natural occurrence in day-to-day life, part of being human, there is still learning how to voluntarily get there. Running is naturally human too, but you have to learn how to do that to do it well. And it's kind of the same thing. And as we see each other, generally what I see is every session, people go down a little deeper, go down a little easier, until I have some clients I've worked with for years that it is in truth a fight to keep them out of trance long enough for me to say what I need to say and ask what I need to ask, because they've just come to associate me and my voice in that setting and situation with trance. And that's how it goes. It's part of this whole thing that I like to say, it's neurons that fire together, wire together. That which is associated with trance encourages trance. It's just how it goes. But generally with actual hypnobirthing, once we've done the work, come the day of, which has been scheduled previous as much as possible, usually with communication with the attending doctor, letting them know what's going on. And usually with cases of hypnobirthing, I have been speaking with somebody on your medical team previously because they want to know about that kind of thing. And during that process, it's just me and earphones talking you through that, just keeping you in that state. And it's interesting. It's one of the more fascinating areas of my work. I have done hypnobirthing. I've not done surgical hypnoanesthesia. Frankly, that weirds me out a little bit. I would do it, but like that's a little intense. It's one thing to be there when somebody's giving birth. It's quite another thing to be there for somebody when they're going under the knife. Like I can't shut up or this might go bad.
I
But
gotta keep talking.
yeah, which I don't really ever have a problem with at all, ever. Which is why this job's perfect for me. But it's hypnotherapy is ultimately a very beneficial thing, no matter what stage you're at in the process, prenatal, pregnancy, birth, after, whatever it may be, it helps. And like, I can't ethically say I can fix or cure anything. That's not what we do. I can help with almost anything. And no matter what stage someone is at in the process of either their pregnancy or their life, I can be there to help assist with that. Because we always need a hand at some point. And getting my hand is more like giving yourself a hand, because hypnosis is not a superpower. I'm not I'm not waving a magic wand or anything like that. Hypnosis is simply advanced communication. It is knowing a different language in a way. And that's what I do. But all of that progress is my client's, is yours. I'm a guide, essentially. I am there to help you through the process and show you how to do it, because it's something we can all do. Every single one of us. There is not such a thing on this planet as a person that cannot be hypnotized. I love it when people say that to me, because those are the easiest people to hypnotize, because they've already created a fear of it in their head or some assumption, so they're already halfway there.
I love that. What are some what do people look like when they're in trance, or what are some common reactions within the space or true expressions of being hypnotized?
Well, some signs that someone is in trance, because it looks very different with a lot of people, but there's a few universal signs. There is a type of breathing that begins to happen that is similar to the way we breathe in sleep. How you can tell from the way someone's breathing generally if they're faking sleeping or not. It's kind of the same thing. One of the other signs that's pretty big is something called catalepsy. It's where when your eyes are closed, there's basically like rapid eye movement. It's the same thing that happens in REM sleep, essentially. And there's other very specific to an individual signs. And I've the way people react to trance is very, very varied. Um, I have clients that half the time they're laughing. I have clients that it's a very emotional thing for them because those people tend to try to stay away from all of the things that their subconscious holds. Uh, Reactions are always very different. Part of the reason that it's important for me to use video is because I'm looking at you when I'm speaking, while I'm paying attention to what I'm saying, looking for a reaction. Like, for example, if I'm speaking and I mention, brother, and you wince, or I see your jaw tighten, I'm not going to say anything in that moment. But after it's all said and done, I might have a question or two as to what that might have meant. But it's always interesting to see how somebody reacts to trance because it is a very individual thing. Like I said,
Yeah, I can
I laugh a
imagine.
lot.
Have you ever I could only imagine me crying. I cry a lot in my conscious mind. So I could imagine my subconscious mind is like so sad.
Hmm.
I do a lot of work to remain upbeat and positive and on the,
Hmm.
up and up of everything. So when people realize that there is I like to call it a realistic side of me, or some might also say a pessimistic side, when I'm just like, it's just life, they're like, I don't understand how you could be both of these people. And I'm like, you ain't never lived my life.
Yeah,
So, have you ever experienced any adverse reactions, or what are some adverse reactions to
we
hypnosis?
uh we actually call, well, it's not adverse. Hypnosis is very, very safe. Uh there is something called abreactions, which is kind of what I just mentioned. How when if I say a specific word, phrase, person, whatever, you have a reaction, a physical reaction. That's an abreaction. But as for like the risks to hypnotherapy,
Mhm.
as long as it is with an ethical, educated professional, no risk at all. Because, like I said, hypnosis is simply advanced communication. It's not some magic spell. And all of the dangers of hypnosis come in the individual in their intent. And that's everybody. Everybody with bad intents, bad. And there's a hypnotist can't like implant a zombie code in your brain or make you cluck like a chicken or something like that.
Okay.
That's not real. One of the things I like to emphasize is you cannot ever be hypnotized to do something that you would be ethically opposed to,
Ever.
ever.
That's
And
interesting.
there's, well, it's like a good example is like a bad dream that
Mm,
wakes you up. It wakes you up because there's something that goes against the grain. It's kind of the same thing. Part of the art of hypnosis, I guess it would be, is maintaining that trance, knowing how to keep the subconscious at that level of calm. Because ultimately, hypnosis, not trance, because hypnosis brings about trance. It's the thing that gets there. The primary ingredient to hypnosis is trust. You have to be able to trust someone to be able to be brought into trance by them. As simple as that. That's part of the reason that I insist on having a consultation call before I ever consider working with somebody. It's partially for me because I want to make sure what page you're on, mostly for you. So you can get that initial trust that we are going to move in the direction that you need to go. And that's whenever somebody goes deeper into trance with every session, that's really more of what is increasing. It is the trust and association, less than your skill, because everyone has the ability to go into the deepest levels of trance. It's just trusting me as an individual to help you get there, basically.
I love that. So talk to me about the importance of or the separation of your conscious and your subconscious mind, or you mentioned like being able to work someone out of almost anything, whether it's time management or
Mhm,
self-exploration, awareness, or whatever. I understand pregnancy comes with a lot of fear, it comes with a lot of
mhm,
isolation, confusion. People are like,
mhm,
they don't know what's going on. And I spend a lot of my time trying to get them to do things that bring them joy. How can you
mhm,
be in a space of wellness and self-care that really might feel a little selfish, but it's more about you experiencing things that will release the hormones of oxytocin
mhm,
and allow your body to relax, to let baby go. So, what is the importance of managing your subconscious mind within pregnancy and labor, and how not to, I don't know,
mhm.
what's the importance of that?
Well, there is something I learned about that was one of the things that made me so enthusiastic about what I do. And that is, I learned about something called the reticular activating system. And it's a little fancy term called the RAS. And this is an actual physical part that exists in all of us. It's in our brain. And what this is, among other things, it is our brain's attentional filter. And what that means is it is programmed and determined what you notice in your reality. And if you have convinced yourself that your reality is misery and pain, your subconscious mind will ensure that that is what you see, not out of any attempt to harm you, but because it believes that's what it's supposed to be doing, is that's what you told it. That's why whenever you're sad, it's so easy to become so sad or even more sad. But because this is a system that can be manipulated, you can change that. You can absolutely change that. And a lot of times, whenever people are going through their pregnancy, they have created some expectations of their world. And those expectations begin to color their reality. They wake up in the morning, they tell themselves, I'm going to feel sick, I'm going to have a miserable day, and I'm going to be tired. And just like that, you are
So they
sick,
do.
miserable, and tired.
Yep.
And part of the reason for that, it's not just physiological components of the pregnancy. When you wake up for 30 minutes after and for 30 minutes before you go to sleep, you're naturally in hypnosis, you're in trance. And so when you tell yourself those things, you're not just telling yourself those things, you are giving yourself actual hypnotic suggestions and programming your reticular activating system to notice those things exclusively. The good news to that is you can do the opposite. You can choose to not focus on those things and kind of lessen their effects. And ultimately, everything comes down to association. Association or learned behavior, which is just association through action. And part of that association is what makes us feel good, what makes us feel bad, things like that. And it becomes very important, be it in pregnancy or depression or healing of any kind, that you don't let your subconscious mind focus upon that negative. It's it's got that handled without that. it is your conscious mind that is making that choice to focus on. And so what that means and how to do that varies greatly with each individual person, because we all have things that increase that oxytocin. We all have things that increase that cortisol. And it's all different for each of us. And part of the fun part of being human is what increases oxytocin for one person increases cortisol for the other. And you really just have to find that out. And that's why uh, there's so much initial communication before we even work together, because I need to know where you are, who you are, what you need, like where you're coming from. If if you're a bookworm and a homebody, I'm not about to suggest you go out and start like riding roller coasters and going out and hanging out with people. It's not going to work. We have to know what you specifically need, which is again part of the reason I don't use scripts or anything like that. I I can't be limited by such things. And I don't want to speak ill of hypnotherapists that do use scripts, because there are a lot of them. I just prefer the versatility and skill of not.
So there's a few things. Same things that make you laugh are the things that make you cry. No, the RAM or RAS,
The-
RAS.
yes, RAS,
Um,
reticular activating system. Yes.
it is constantly looking to prove us right.
Mhm. Yep.
Period. So
Yep.
when and how we think it is how often our mind is trying to prove that. We seek that throughout the day. Okay, now I know what I wanted to say to that. So
Yeah.
that's a similar kind of that same RAS moment is what we like to share with parents when they
Mhm.
wake up and they're like dreading the idea of being
Yep.
a parent that day. You know, like
Yep.
your mind then starts to look for your kids being annoying and needing you for everything and wanting,
Mhm.
crying and complaining, and you emit that energy, so it's permeating throughout your space. Your body is letting go
Yeah. We
very long.
will seek out confirmation and validation of whatever we think it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so funny story. Uh, I used to be, for the longest time, one of the angriest, most negative people you would ever meet in your life, which is very odd considering the way I come off now. And the reason for that is because I thought the world was a bad place. And the reason I thought the world was a bad place was because I saw bad things. And I thought that was confirmation of my worldview. And eventually I come to learn about these things I'm talking about. And I realize maybe I don't think the world's a bad place because it is. Maybe I'm seeing bad things because I think the world's a bad place. And sure enough, I began to go through the steps to change that perception, and it changed the way I viewed the world. And it really is, we've heard the term confirmation bias before, where we will seek things that help to support our opinions. Your brain is literally hardwired to do it, no matter what that is, good, bad, or indifferent. And the thing I stress to people is you have a choice as to what that confirmation bias will look to confirm. It can confirm the worst around you, it can confirm the best around you. And it all comes down to, what do you want to see? What would you prefer? And it's I always tell people it is a choice, and it really is. You have a choice no matter what. Doesn't mean all the choices are good, doesn't mean all of the choices are equally as viable, but you always have a choice. And it's realizing that can be helpful in those situations, because on a subconscious level we hate obligation, absolutely hate obligation, and hate responsibility. It's just the nature of being human.
Guilty.
No, it's everyone that lives and breathes has that same thing. So it becomes a matter of not viewing it as an obligation, because an obligation is only an obligation because you view it as an obligation. And the way you view the things you must do in life, because we all have things we have to do, determines how you feel about them. And if you wake up every day dreading the things that you're going to have to do, it's not going to be great. It's not going to be fun. And you're going to make everyone miserable around you, which is going to make you more miserable, which is just going to be a cycle. Or you can stop and you can make the choice. Like I made the choice to begin to seeing things differently. And I I know somebody out there is like 7 months pregnant and feels like crap and is throwing up every morning and thinks everything I'm saying is just the biggest crap. But even in her case, not. It's that sickness is always going to be there. Girl, you're going to throw up in the morning. That's how it
Hmm.
is.
You know what? I have a mentor that likes to say, um, to change the perspective of a
Mhm,
thing, it's 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 better to say, I get to.
mhm.
I get
Exactly.
to work through X, Y, and Z, or I get to figure this out, or I get to spend time with my loving kids, or
Hmm.
I get to birth this baby confidently. I get to make this
Hmm.
connection. And it's really all about perspective and shifting your perspective so that you can then shift your mindset into something more positive and more beautiful. Now, I don't want to hold you forever because I also think that you could talk about this forever and I could talk
Sure.
about this forever. It's a thing that we like to do. But what I want, my final question to you is if there was one thing in 1 minute or less that you wanted to, that you were like, I cannot leave this interview without sharing this with the world about hypnotherapy, about pregnancy, about parenthood, and how it can benefit it. What is that one thing?
You get to choose. No matter what it is, you get to choose. And if you don't think you do, well, it's because you still have some choices to make before you get to that main one. But it is all, every last bit of it is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how weird or grim or painful it seems to be, it's always a choice. Not always a good choice. It's not always the choice you would want, but you always have a choice. And it's important to always remember that, because when your subconscious doesn't think that you have a choice, it just thinks that you're being railroaded into something, it kicks back. It doesn't like it. It wants that choice. It wants to be able to engage in its environment. And so always remember, you have a choice. You're yeah, you have to get up and feed your kids. Well, you could stay in bed. You could just not do it. It is a choice. You do have that choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad choice, and you probably wouldn't do it, but that is legitimately a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it boils down to just offering yourself that choice. Well, do
Mm-hmm.
you want to just stay in bed and ignore them?
Yeah.
And generally,
Say
when you
no.
ask that question, no, I
Okay.
don't. And that instantly changes the perspective on it in your subconscious mind, rather
Mm,
than just, oh, I have to do this. Well, it's I can do this, or I could just ignore them, see what that gets me. It's a
mm-mm.
choice.
Mhm.
It
I
is a
like that.
choice.
I like that. You always have a choice.
Hmm.
Um, I love that. I could keep going forever. Tell us
Hmm.
how we can find you, Robert. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Like I said, my company is called Twin Raven Solutions. Our website is twinravens.org. And from there, you can set a consultation with me. You can watch the dozens of interviews I've done in the past. You can buy some of the books I've published. Um, like I said, I've got a book that just came out called All in Your Head that talks about many of the things that I've discussed today, as well as gives you exercises to help understand how those things affect your life and how to use them. So it's kind of an instructional book. It's showing you how to use your brain,
Mm-hmm.
or use your mind specifically, not your brain. It's kind of two different things. Otherwise, people are welcome to reach out to me directly at jparker@twinravens.org, or just look me up on most of the normal social media ways. Either look up Twin Raven Solutions or J. Robert Parker. I've yet to find another person that goes by that name and does what I do. So, but yeah,
Awesome.
otherwise, anyone that has any questions, anyone that has concerns or wants to work with me, anything like that, I always have I call it my metaphorical open door policy, because my office door is in my house. Don't come in my house. Uh, but any questions you have, don't hesitate to ask. Reach out to me. Even even if you want some of the information that I've provided, don't hesitate to ask. I Part of the reason I am here is to clear up any questions and misconceptions about what I do. So
Yeah.
don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, you heard it here, everybody. The benefits of hypnotherapy on pregnancy and birth and labor and parenthood. It runs deep. You know where you can find more information on it. My name is Troi. I am your favorite full spectrum wellness doula of Mama Tree Doula. I want you to continue to nurture your pregnancy journey. Happy healing and happy baking. See you guys around.